So the date is the 12th of July 2026, and what I'm going to talk about in this video is a little example of karma, which I've come across. And now, what it is, I watched this. Siobhan and I got involved in watching this bloke on YouTube called Tom Greatorex. He's from Sheffield, and we initially started watching his channel because he was from Sheffield, because he was filming a video in Page Hall, and he did one in Hillsborough as well. So that's why it caught our attention. So we started watching his videos, and then ultimately, this was probably going back to around about the winter of 2024 stroke 2025. And then round about summer time, he went traveling, well, to live in Southeast Asia, well, Mexico and then Southeast Asia. Now, this guy is probably one of the most stupidest people I've ever known, and he's incredibly ignorant as well. Probably smoked weed for most of his life, so he's paranoid delusional. But yet manages to just about keep it together most of the time. He's absolutely convinced that the Earth is flat, and at the end of the Earth is basically a big wall. But he's never gone into the specifics about what he thinks is beyond that or what the wall's made of, if it's possible to go to the wall. And not only that, it's not like he's gently proposing this. He actually talks to the audience and firmly believes that everyone who believes that the earth is round is of a subnormal intelligence. And he carries on fundamentally believing that he's more intelligent and enlightened, ironically, than most of the population. So as a result of that, he keeps getting into, often gets into difficulties because he's such an idiot. And that's probably why he's got some. I think he's got about 5,000, 6,000 viewers. He's got a couple of channels going on. And that's probably why he gets so many viewers, because people are entertained by his stupidity when he's actually totally serious. But what happened was, right, so he's been in traveling, living abroad for well over a year now. And the reason he's abroad is because he knows that this country is rapidly going downhill, which is something I would agree with him on, actually. And so while he's been traveling, he's been in places like Mexico, currently in Vietnam, and he's been riding mopeds. He's buying mopeds, and he's been doing that for, like I said, well over a year. Never any problems. Then on this moped he's currently got in Vietnam, he hired it from some bloke, and he's noticed that there's a bit of a problem with the brakes. I don't think the brakes are completely not working. One of them's gone, so it's a bit of a hazard. But because he's stupid, he's not really done anything about it. He's kind of carried on driving, knowing he's got a problem, and kind of like contacted the bloke who rents the bike off in a kind of bit of a half-assed kind of way. But anyway, so surprise, surprise, he ends up running into the back of some woman's car, and like knackers the whole rear bumper. He gets out. He does the right thing, sticks around, tries to have a conversation with her about it, and try and see how they can resolve it. And he offers to pay the money to her for the repair. So he don't speak any Vietnamese. Her command of English, her English isn't good. But she gives him a figure, and because he's tight-fisted, because he's like me, he's a Yorkshireman. He said, "Oh no, that's too much. No, it can't be that much." And then he notices she's on the phone to whoever, and she's looking at businesses in the local areas if to give a location for them to turn up to. So he gets a bit spooked by this because he thinks like a load of blokes are going to be turning up with baseball bats. So at least that's what he says. I think he's kind of justifying why he then did a runner. But I think, I was kind of only half paying attention, but I think he's given her his number. And to be fair to him, like, because he didn't know what was going on. This was going on for some time, and he's a bit wondering because he's like paranoid, like I say. He's disappeared, and he's kind of left it. And since then, she's put a shout out to the community, local community, trying to identify him. I think she's got a photograph of him, claiming that he's done a hit and run. So, but then literally the following day, or possibly the day after, certainly no more than that, someone runs into the back of him. Um, and I don't think it was Tom's fault. He didn't indicate, but he says nobody in Vietnam indicates. So it was kind of him doing that was within context. But because that lack of an indicator caused ambiguity about which direction he was going in, the bloke behind him ran into him, knocked him off his bike, caused issues. It's looking like the camera on his phone might be knackered. So yeah, and he's got a few bruises and grazes. So irrespective of whether he deserved this or not, because it's a bit of a grey area to the extent to which he's kind of like running off from that incident that he caused. Just the very fact it's like a reciprocal, there's a cosmic reciprocality to this, which is that he's driving all this time, runs into the back of someone, and then almost immediately, literally a day or so later, someone runs into the back of him. You can't argue that he was, you know, he was kind of feeling tense or distracted or anything like that because he didn't cause the second accident. Someone ran into the back of him. So this is what happens, you run into the back of someone runs back into the back of you. Equally, if someone had ran into the back of him in what I call reverse karma, you'd have probably found that he'd then run into someone else. So the reverse can happen as well. That's my experience when it comes to karma. The thing about karma is that in this particular case, it's happened very, very quickly. It can take a long time before it manifests, but ultimately it does catch up with people. It's just a question of time.